Hi, welcome to this 5th episode of my marketing series that I hope will help you become more successful in your business. As a business owner myself for many years, I understand the challenges that you face. The theme of this series is how to market your business most effectively. Today, I'll be talking about signage. In today's world, a lot of businesses don't even have a physical premises anymore. So the concept of using signage to market your business might initially sound a little old-fashioned. But while I'll mainly be referring to physical signage, the same principles apply to virtual businesses. As we've touched on in episode 2 of our marketing series, where we talked about branding, a key success for both branding and signage is consistency. Have a look down the commercial streets of any town or suburb and you'll find examples of businesses that have multiple signs, all of which clash with different colours, fonts and styles. Signage is another key marketing platform where the larger, more sophisticated companies do it so much better than small independent businesses. Don't try to say too much on your signage. Generally just either your brand name, logo or both, and perhaps just 1 or 2 keywords if your brand does not clearly explain what your product or service is. And your signage must not look cheap. It's not just what you say, but how you say it. Signage is not just conveying your intended message, but subliminal messages. If it's outdated, rusty, faded, it's saying you don't care, your business is neglected. Worst of all is owner-made, handwritten signage. That just looks plain amateur. If you've done much driving in the country like I have, then I'm sure you can relate to the various signs you see as you're driving into a country town. They're advertising the local hotels, motels, restaurants and so on. Are you going to stop first at the motel that has that rusted or faded or neglected sign where someone shot bullet holes through it years ago and it's never been repaired? I don't think so. You're more likely to stay at the one with the bright, well-maintained sign. Signage is not a place to cut corners. Get it done professionally and make sure your signs are always clean and bright. Placement and background are also important. When it comes to signage, less can be more. A small sign will still work provided it's not competing against a cluttered background. The observer's eye will be drawn to it. This is one area where you can see distinct cultural differences between, say, Europe, the USA and Asia. In Europe, signs tend to be smaller, less strident, but they're still effective. Partly this is a result of more stringent planning controls in Europe than, for example, Australia or the USA. One way to work around this is to use the entire building as a subliminal sign. Take a look at an Audi supermarket or a Mercedes or Audi car dealership. Their signage is strategically placed but quite small. Meanwhile, their consistent building architectural style and colour means that the entire building is acting as a giant sign. Here are 3 more important questions to ask when considering your signage options. When are your customers most active? What are your key trading hours? How many people pass your business after dark? If you mainly trade after dark, or your business is on a street that gets significant passing traffic after dark, then you should opt for some form of illuminated signage. Old technology neon lights are very expensive and fragile, but you can now get LED signage that's not only cheaper to buy, but cheaper to run. If it's animated, so much the better. Anything from letters flashing to colours changing. Of course, the ultimate in versatile animation options is an outdoor video screen. These are now so affordable that you even see them at some local schools. But the moment you start considering signage, you immediately run into a world of red tape, mainly at the local government level, but often, if you're renting a larger building, also restrictions imposed by the building owners or managers. You might even come up against state heritage regulations if you're in an older building or precinct. Sometimes, even if you spend all the time and money on the applications and compliance, you still won't get the permission to put up the signage that you really want. One effective workaround is to put video screens or other illuminated signage inside your windows facing outwards. Most of the restrictions only apply to what happens outside your premises. But I would not recommend doing as many businesses do and illegally fixing signs on the power poles and other urban infrastructure in your area. Quite apart from the fact that you might attract a fine, I don't think it gives potential customers confidence in the credibility of your business. In other words, if you're prepared to break the law and advertise in this way, then what other shortcuts might you be prepared to take with their job? I'd like to finish with a case study of our first business, which we bought way back in 1987 when I was 25 years old. The old hotel in Wongaree, South Australia, was already over a century old, having been constructed in 1870. It had lost its hotel licence during the Great Depression of the 1930s. When we bought the business, it was trading as a general store, including post office, news agency, petrol, takeaway food, and all of the other essentials in a quite remote country area. It was the only local shop for the town of Wongaree, which had a massive population at that time of 78 people. For the surrounding area of farmers and fishermen, the total population was still just 243 people. Being the post office, we knew every one of them personally, as well as their birthdays, when we'd be sorting birthday cards into each family's mail pigeonhole. There were no home mail deliveries or PO boxes. They all had to visit the shop inside to pick up their mail. Clearly the tiny local population was locked in, but it was hardly enough to sustain a profitable business. Fortunately, the old hotel was located on a dirt service road, just a few metres back from alternate Highway 1. This is the national highway that runs all the way around Australia's coastline. The reason this particular stretch was called alternate is that it's the longer scenic route that follows the coast more closely. All of the interstate trucks and other people in a hurry stick to the shorter main route that cuts across the top of the Eyre Peninsula. But the grain nomads in their caravans, young Japanese men on motorbikes, a few intrepid cycle tourists, and anyone else making a grand tour around Australia would all go past our doorstep. Being set back on a dirt service road, we needed to attract people to pull them off the highway. This was in the days before the internet and social media. Any method other than signage to attract passing travellers to stop at our small business was way too expensive. We used 3 strategies. First, we had 2 big signs made and set them up within the boundaries of our property, but where they would be seen most easily in the distance from the highway. Second, we persuaded the Highways Department to add more of the blue tourist advisory symbols on their roadside signage to show all of the amenities that we offered, such as petrol, public toilets, food, etc. Thirdly, we ordered 2 portable A-frame signs with the Ampol logo and the price for petrol, and we made sure our petrol was cheap. It was all about pulling the customers off the highway. Then we'd make more profit from the drinks and snacks and everything else they buy than the petrol. The bottom line was that our business grew rapidly and we were able to sell it for almost double the purchase price less than 2 years after buying the business. That result proved the power of signage. It wasn't the only factor, but it was a vital first step. Our signage investment paid off many times over. If you'd like to get my future videos as soon as they're posted, then please subscribe to my series. If you've benefited from this video, then please write a review and like this video on the screen below. And please contact me if you'd like a free, personal business coaching session. I believe that with passion, consistent effort and wise advice, you can succeed in your business. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next time.